Do you want to take the Buddha money? Could you take it away? There's money on the place. You have somebody else. Okay. Yo-ho, Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddha Swakato Yena Bhagavata Dhammo Supatipanno Yassa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nammayam Bhagavantam Sadhamma Sasangham Imehi Satkarehi Yathaham Arobitehi Abhipujayama Sadhuno Bhante Bhagava Suchira Parinim Bhutopi Panchima Janata Nukam Tamanasa Ime Satkare Dugatapanna Karabhute Parinyan Hatu Amhakangi Haratang Nitaya Sukhaya Aham Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi Suvakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namassami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami Andamayam Buddha Sabhagavato Pumbhagaganamakaram Kavamase Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
anybody will be comfortable sitting on a cushion, you're welcome to come over here and enjoy not only the sort of work, but also the coolness of the.
That is coming for us. You didn't get it. You didn't get it. Sorry about that.
In a few minutes, while we hold these flowers, we will be chanting the Vesak Puja, the special dedication for the Vesak day. And then we will be doing a procession to process around the Bodhi tree and to bathe the baby Buddha. And then we have a chance to leave these flowers, candle, and incense on the baby Buddha altar as our offering. I'm very aware just right now of the sweet smell of the rose, bringing happiness. It reminds me of one of the very first times I encountered the Dhamma with Thich Nhat Hanh, and he has that chant for the grown-ups and children, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. I am fresh as a flower, sparkling like the dew. Huh? So, and at the time, like so many of us, I was feeling kind of like broken at the time, and to recognize that there is that which we have within us, which is so perfect, so fresh, so beautiful, and to bring that perfection to this moment of celebrating the birth, the enlightenment, and the final extinguishment of our teacher, the Buddha. At this time, I'm filling in for Ayata Taluka, giving words of welcome. I will be joining us in just a few minutes. She's injured a knee and trying to reduce the amount of time that she's sitting out with us with the painful knee. But that's how it is. I mentioned to Susie, we spoke about it. We encounter obstacles in the course of everything we're trying to do for the Dhamma, what we're trying to do for the Buddha. And if we are trying to do something good and meritorious and we overcome obstacles and persist in making the effort, then that makes the merit and the value of it so much the greater. A little bit later on, after the ceremony, we will be having a period of Dhamma And President Susie Clicks will be speaking on behalf of our board of directors. She's representing our board members who have worked so faithfully and diligently to support us, to support the Bhikkhunis in our community. That is Susie, Subhadra Chachevich, and Dominic Mccarthy and Bob Flax, presently on the board. And we have one other board member who is in the pipeline, and then another potential board member standing at the gate. So we have a good opportunity in the coming months to have a very well-functioning board of directors, which is able to serve and support the Bhikkhunis in that way. I appreciate that all who are here and those who might be listening on the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Zooms, that you support the Bhikkhunis and you also support the Support Foundation. So these are the ones who have come out, who are here in person, giving the actual material requisites that the Bhikkhunis are able to accept. And people from far away around the world are also supporting in so many different ways. And I could introduce the monastics who are present. You'll see Ayata Taloka, our founding teacher, a little bit later. I am Salmana Terry, and the right side is here. On my left is Venerable Chayana Bhikkhuni, who is in effect been the dutio for Ayata Taloka and the factor of stability and leadership at our hermitage for many months, even years. So Kachayan is a very important member of our community. Then we have Seminary Dhammadharini, who has been spending time at both places, but I especially appreciate her presence here at the monastery with me. And we have Seminary Sadhajivi, who is here. Sadhajivi is a from Canada and Cambodia, and she's part of a project that we have going on during this Vasa to support the establishment of the Bhikkhuni Sangha in the country of Cambodia. It so happens that there are 3 international monastics of Cambodian descent. Aya Metajivi, who some of us have met because she's been here before and will be here again, is a American Cambodian American from Boston. And then Seminary Sadhajivi is a Cambodian Canadian. And then we hope coming to see us soon will be the Venerable Jutindara, who is a Cambodian German. And I find it so uplifting and amazing that these 3 women who have had the calling for the monastic path are dedicated to serving Cambodia and to helping women in Cambodia to be able to realize the full potential of their religious aspirations by establishing the Bhikkhuni Sangha over there. And so this is one project that I hope people will be inspired to really want to support in the coming months and years. Then the last person to introduce is Seminary Tavira, who is our highly accomplished genius of so many things having to do with words and speaking and writing clearly and being organized and taking good minutes, and especially I commend Tavira for being a wonderful personal assistant for Ayata Taloka and doing a lot of work to facilitate Ayata Taloka's efforts. So having somebody who's just smart and well organized and also smiles a lot, even under that mask, she's still smiling and laughing and happy and appreciative and grateful. And what a wonderful thing to have that combination. So I didn't praise anybody more than anybody else on purpose. Just saying what that comes to mind. So I think that may be enough for introductions.
What are we doing next time?
So the next thing we're going to be doing is chanting the Vesak Puja, and all of us can do that chanting together. Somebody could hand out the paper. It's on the 8.5 by 11 paper with the Vesak Puja. If you want to give that around, and you may keep that as a souvenir of today. I invite Venerable Kachayana to be the chanting leader for this puja.
All right, that means I need to check my sound. Are you able to hear me out there? Yes? Okay, I'm getting a little feedback. How is it in internet land? Yes, got some feedback. Okay now? All right, and I will be leading this in
Call and response style.
if my mic works. Yeah, it's a little in and out. So I might invite another person to take the handheld mic and be the responder. So we'll do this a little bit at a time. I will chant and you just chant what I chant afterwards. I think we can all begin with the Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly self-awakened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly self-awakened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the rightly self-awakened One. Yam amha komayang,
Yam amha komayang,
Bhagavantang saranang gata,
Bhagavantam saranam gata,
yo no bhagava sattha,
yo no bhagava sattva,
yasacha mayang,
yasacha mayang,
Bhagavato dhammang rochema,
Bhagavato dhammam vochema.
the Blessed One to whom we have gone for refuge.
The Blessed One to whom we have gone for refuge,
Who is our teacher,
who is our teacher,
and in whose Dhamma we delight.
and in whose Dhamma we delight.
Ahosiko so bhagava,
Ahosiko so bhagava,
Majjimesu janapadesu,
Majjimesu janapadesu,
Ariyakesu manusesu uppanno.
Ariyakesu manusesu uppanno.
Katiyo jatiha.
Katiyo jatiya.
Gotamo gotena.
Gotamo Gotena
Was born in the middle country.
was born in the middle country.
The Aryakares.
The Aryaka race,
The noble warrior class.
the noble warrior class,
And the Gotama lineage.
and the Gotama lineage.
Sakyaputto.
Sakyabhuto,
Sakyakulapa Bhajito.
Sakyakulata Papito,
Sadeva Keloke.
Sadeva Keloke,
Samarake Sabrahmake.
Samarake Sabrahmake,
Sasamana Brahmaniya Pajaya.
Sasamana Brahmaniya Pajaya,
Sadeva Manusaya.
Sadeva Manusaya,
Anuttarang Samma Sambodhing.
Anuttarang Samma Sambodhim,
Abhisambodho.
Abhisambodho,
A member of the Sakyan clan.
a member of the Sakyan clan.
He left his Shakyan family.
He left his Sakyan family,
Went forth into the homeless life.
went forth into the homeless life,
And attained right self-awakening.
and attained right self-awakening,
Unsurpassed in the cosmos.
unsurpassed in the cosmos,
With its devas, maras, and brahmas.
with its devas, maras, and brahmas.
In this generation with its contemplatives and brahmins.
In this generation, with its contemplatives and brahmans,
Its rulers and common people. Nisang sayang koso bhagawa.
Vesak sayang koso bhagava,
Arahang samma sambuddho.
arahang samma sambuddho,
Vijja charana sampanno.
Vijja charana sampanno,
Sukato lokavidu.
Sugato lokavidu,
Anuttaro purisadhamma sarati.
Anuttaro purisadammā sarati,
Sattha deva manusanam.
Sattva deva manusanam,
Buddho bhagawa.
Buddha bhagava.
There is no doubt that the Blessed One is worthy.
There is no doubt that the Blessed One is worthy,
And rightly self-awakened.
and rightly self-awakened,
Consummate in knowledge and conduct.
consummate in knowledge and conduct,
One who has gone the good way.
one who has gone the good way,
A knower of the cosmos.
knower of the cosmos,
Unexcelled as a trainer for those who can be taught.
and excelled as a trainer for those who can be taught,
Teacher for human and divine beings.
teacher for human and divine beings,
Awakened and blessed.
awakened and blessed,
Swakatoko.
Swakatoko,
Anatena Bhagavata Dhammo.
Anatena Bhagavata Dhammo,
Sanditiko Akaliko.
Sambhikiko Akaliko,
Ehipasiko Panayiko.
Ehipasiko Opanayiko,
Pachatang vedita vinyuhiti.
Pachatang vedita vinyuhi.
And that the Dhamma is well taught by the Blessed One.
And that the Dhamma is well taught by the Blessed One.
To be seen here and now.
To be seen here and now.
Timeless, inviting all to come and see.
Timeless, inviting all to come and see.
Pertinent, to be realized by the observant for themselves.
Pertinent, to be realized by the observant for themselves.
Supatipanno ko panassa bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Supatipanno ko panasa bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Nyaya patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Nyaya patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Samici patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Samici patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho.
Yadidang chattari purisayugani.
Yadidam chattari purisayugani.
Atta purisabhogala.
Anta purisa pungala.
And that the community of the Blessed One's disciples,
And at the community of the Blessed One's disciples,
the four pairs, the 8 types of noble ones,
the four pairs, the 8 kinds of noble ones,
have practiced well,
have practiced well,
have practiced straightforwardly,
have practiced straightforwardly,
have practiced methodically,
have practiced methodically,
have practiced masterfully.
have practiced masterfully.
Ayam ko panapattima,
Ayam ko panapatima,
tang bhagavantang,
Kang Bhagavantam,
bodhisakata patitthapita,
Udesa kata patitpatita,
yavadevarāsanena,
Yavadevadasanena,
tang bhagavantang anusaritva,
Ang Bhagavantam Anusaritva,
pasada sangvega patilabhaya,
Pasada Samvega Patilabhaya.
this image dedicated to the Blessed One
This image dedicated to the Blessed One
has been placed here,
has been placed here,
so that in seeing it we will remember him.
so that in seeing it we will remember him
And gain a sense of inspiration
and gain a sense of inspiration
and chastened dispassion.
and chasten dispassion.
Ayang ko panabodhi,
Yanko Panabodhi,
tang bhagavantang udissa patittapito,
Yang Bhagavantam Udisapatita Pito,
yavadevarāsanena,
Yavadevadasanena,
tang bhagavantang anusaritva,
Kang Bhagavantam Anusaritva,
pasada sangvega patilabhaya,
Pasada Samvega Patilabhaya.
this Bodhi tree
Bodhi tree
dedicated to the Blessed One
dedicated to the Blessed One
has been placed here so that in seeing it
has been placed here so that in seeing it,
we will remember him
we will remember him
and gain a sense of inspiration
and gain a sense of inspiration
and chastened dispassion.
and chasten this passion.
Mayanko etarahi
Mayanko etaradi
imang visaka punnami kalang
imang visaka punnamikalam
tassa bhagavato
tassa bhagavato
jati sambodhi nibbana kala
Nasai Sambodhi Nimmanakala
sambatang patwa
Sammatan Patwa
imang thanang sampatta.
Imam Dana Sampaka.
Now on this full moon day of Visakha,
Now on this full moon day of Visakha,
recognized as the date
recognized as the date
of the Blessed One's birth,
of the Blessed One's birth,
awakening and total unbinding,
awakening and total unbinding,
we have gathered together in this place.
we have gathered together in this place.
Imedandati padupadi sakkare
Imahitanda Dipa Dupa Disakare
nahetva attanokayang
Kahetva Aptano Kayam
Sakarupadhanam karitva
Sakarupadanam Karitva.
we take these offerings,
We take these offerings,
candles, incense, and so forth,
candles, incense, and so forth,
and make our bodies a vessel for them.
and make our bodies a vessel for them.
Tassa bhagavata yatha pucce
Tassa Bhagavato Yatha Buche
gune anusaranta
Gune Anusaranta
imang bodhing tikkatung
Emang Bodhin Mukkatum
padakinang karisama
Padakinam Karisama
yatha gahite hisakkarehi
Yatha Gahite Sakarehi
pujang kurumana.
Ujjang Purnama.
Reflecting on the Blessed One's virtues
Reflecting the Blessed One's virtues
as they actually are,
as they actually are.
we will circumambulate this Bodhi tree 3 times,
We will circumambulate this Bodhi tree 3 times,
paying homage to him
paying homage to him.
with the offerings we hold.
With these offerings we hold.
Sadhu no bhante bhagawa
Sadhu no bhante bhagava.
suchira parinibhutopi
Suchira parinimbutopi.
nyata bhehi gunehi
Yata behi gunehi.
atitaram manataya
Atitaram manaya prapanna.
anyayamano.
Anyayamano.
Even though the Blessed One
Even though the Blessed One
was long ago totally unbound,
was long ago totally unbound,
he is still discernible
he is still discernible
through our remembrance of his perceivable virtues.
through our remembrance of his perceivable virtues.
Ime amhehi kahite sakkare
Eme anhehi kahite sakare
Patikan hatu
patingan hatu
amhakang di karatang
anhakam viharatang
hitaya sukhaya.
hitaya sukhaya.
May he accept the offerings we hold
May he accept the offerings we hold
for the sake of our long-term welfare and happiness.
for the sake of our long-term welfare and happiness.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Nina?
So Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Buddhisattva Sattva
Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Itipiso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati
Itipiso
Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati Itipiso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati So Bhagavan Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati So Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Itipiso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vijjacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Itipiso Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuntaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Tipiso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Tipiso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Tipiso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Tipiso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Kavidu Anuttaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati Tipiso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Porisadhamma Sarati Satta Deva Manusana Buddho Bhagavati.
Susie, that was your time. Good, good. Would you like to come and view of the camera? Yes. You can bring a cushion if you want to, and put your face towards the camera.
That camera.
Yeah, that camera.
Right.
You take a mic.
Use this mic.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Well, first of all, maybe I wanted to do.
Yes.
Good afternoon. With gratitude, I am very pleased to be able to be here with the Dhammadharini group and the monastics, our supporters, and our friends around here to be able to share in person, which is a rare occurrence these days in the celebration of Vesak Day, in commemoration and in gratitude of what the Buddha has done to the world and to us all, and to those who carried on the tradition to this day, that we all can be here together in person and to recollect the Buddha, what he's discovered and what teaching that has been passed on and has been continued with the long lineage of Sangha until this day. So I invite you to all the recollection and the benefits and the blessing that come from this celebration of this auspicious happenings in our practice. So I welcome you all to be with us and to share the merit of the Vesak celebration with Dhammadharini. Welcome. Next, did I introduce Dom? Oh.
Yes.
Well, on behalf of the Dhammadharini Support Foundation, again, I am happy to give you some update of our support group and introduce some of the new members that have joined us recently, and also to the mentioning of the departure of treasurer Chanaka Ekanamaya, who has recently left in person, but not in spirit, because much that he had left the his job as a treasurer, his helpful spirit and his helpful contribution of his time is still around. But with that extra gratitude, I'm delighted to be able to introduce you next treasurer of the Dhammadharini Support Foundation. And may I introduce Dominic McCarthy, and he will be speaking to you at this moment from far away. And thank you so much for joining us, Dom. And here we are. I pass the baton to you. Thank you.
McCarthy, the treasurer of the Dhammadharini Support Foundation, and I took over recently for Chanaka, who has given many excellent years of service to the community as treasurer. Anumodana to Chanaka. I want to also thank the Venerable Bhikkhunis themselves for setting such an excellent example for us with their practice of Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. The greatest gift is the gift of Dhamma. Where would we be without such excellent Kalyana Mittas in the world? Their strict Vinaya practice encourages us to keep our precepts, following their example and the example of the Buddha. And thank you too to the Upasakas and Upasikas who act as a support structure around the monastic Sangha. Since joining the finance committee, I've learned just how much the Dana practice of people like our president Susie makes Dhammadharini possible and how it couldn't exist without them. So Anumodana to Susie, Supatra, Bob, and all of you who support the Bhikkhuni Sangha. During the time of COVID, when seeing the seminars in person was not possible for us, the teachings and events offered by the Bhikkhunis via Zoom have been a big support for us all. There was some concern in the Support Foundation that with the stress and uncertainty of the pandemic, the support for the Sangha might have to dip. But we are grateful to say that your generosity has been heartwarmingly strong. Anumodana to you. Another thing that has been heartwarmingly strong is the interest in entering monastic life. The number of aspirants interested in entering monastic life with Dhammadharini has increased significantly each of the past 2 years. It is good that more women are interested in becoming daughters of the Buddha and attempting to become free as he did. If we continue to encourage and support these aspirations, our world will be enriched for ourselves and for our children. May it be so. The Buddha's Fourfold Sangha has reemerged, and it continues to reemerge both here and around the world. It is meritorious for us to help in this, and we are fortunate to be able to be involved. Opening up the way of the Buddha to more people leads to more happiness, both for the monastics who can pursue Nibbana, and for us lay people who have an excellent field of merit in the world. I felt that for many years, in supporting the Sangha, I am actually supporting myself. A little space is cleared. There's a part of myself that grows as I give to the Sangha. It's the part that tends to the bliss of release. In helping to reestablish something that the Buddha established, I'm strengthening myself now and for the future. Such opportunities are rare. I often wonder about my past lives when I wasn't a Buddhist, and I proceeded haphazardly from one desire to the next, one goal to the next, without the clear wisdom of the Buddha to guide my life. So we try to take advantage of our opportunities for Dana, Sila, and Bhavana now while we have them, before we get distracted, before we forget. In this Vesak season and beyond, the Support Foundation plans to address Dhammadharini's needs in 4 main areas. First, to support the teaching, training, and ordination of returning and incoming bhikkhunis and seminaries. We hope to support Cambodian women who wish to train with our bhikkhunis. This will be a huge step in establishing the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Cambodia. Our second priority is to cover the increased cost of our insurance policies for this year. Third is to provide equipment to improve air quality in the monastery and to develop the area around the new outdoor sala that your donations will use to provide. And our fourth priority is fire abatement work at the Aranya. As we all know, this has become more critical in recent years. Additional funding is needed to address these priorities, but I'm sure that we can do this together.
The next thing is what's that? Okay. Next thing is the talk. I believe Loka might be joining us in the middle of the talk. Maybe first speaking on some aspect of our celebration of Vesak today. So I think we can go ahead and Loka will join us when she's ready.
Dear friends, we decided to invite each one of the monastics in the community to say a few words about some incident of the Buddha's life with a particular focus on the 3 great events that we celebrate today. The birth of the Bodhisattva, the enlightenment of the Buddha, and the final extinguishment of the Buddha, all of which are said to have taken place on the full moon day of May. So we're commemorating all 3 of these events. I will say that if you read the stories in the sutta, the accounts of these 3 events, they are very rich in so many different poignant and meaningful heartwarmings of the different things that occurred around these 3 great events. We couldn't possibly cover it in one Dhamma talk or in 1 hour. We could probably spend a week just enjoying and celebrating and investigating all of these different incidents. One thing that I noticed is that when the Buddha, it's interesting why the Buddha, when he talked about his own story and about the story of the previous Buddhas who were following the same pattern, he chose to speak about aspects of his life which are demonstrating the teachings that he wanted us to learn. So it actually has been an eye-opener for me throughout this month, doing a fresh reflection on the 3 great events and the Buddha's life story, seeing how the Buddha's Dhamma and the Buddha's life are one and the same thing. His life illustrates the Dhamma. The Dhamma informs the life. So if we hear that the Buddha faced some circumstance as when he was young, he faced the luxurious living of a young person in a castle with all the comforts of life and had to make the meaning of it. This is also the task that the Buddha is saying, you should, what I did, you should do. So as you listen to these talks, I hope you will think of it not just as something that happened a long time ago, or even something that we admire, but also as something that we ought to emulate, something that we should think about personally. How can I be like the Buddha? How can I aspire to have so much conscience, so much sensitivity, so much courage, so much strength to do in my own life what the Buddha did. So not only what he advised us to do, but also the example that he gave. Having given a brief beginning, I had in mind that Aitataloka was going to be the first speaker because she's speaking about the birth story of the Buddha, the wonderful and marvelous events of the Buddha's birth. But that will come a little bit later. Now I'm going to go on to Venerable Katyayana, who's going to speak about another wonderful and marvelous thing that happened when the Buddha was born.
Thank you. Yes, well, you've just been saying all the things that we should emulate about the Buddha, and I'm going to speak about the time when he was born, which is something we have all ourselves done many times. But with the Buddha, it was a little bit different. There's the sutta that says that at the time he came into the world, there were many miracles. And I think Ayatollah might tell you about several of the others when she comes out. But the one that I was going to speak about is at the time of the Buddha's conception, they say, and then also again at the time of his birth, of his, first coming out of the womb. There was a miracle of a great light throughout the entire world, with its gods, Maras and Brahmins, with its ascetics and Brahmins, gods and humans. It says, an immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. Even in the boundless desolation of interstellar space, so utterly dark that even the light of the moon and the sun, so mighty and powerful, makes no impression, an immeasurable, magnificent light appears, surpassing the glory of the gods. And the sentient beings reborn there recognize each other by that light. And they say, so it seems other sentient beings have been reborn here. And this galaxy shakes and rocks and trembles. And an immeasurable, magnificent light appears in the world, surpassing the glory of the gods. So this we remember as an incredible and amazing quality of Buddha, not like everybody's birth. But I think there is something here that we can recognize as, I guess the theme I want to pull out here is the very quality of recognition. The light that appears in the great darkness in interstellar space, and beings who have been living there in that darkness, thinking themselves completely alone because they can't see anything. They're just there, hovering in the space. And this light of awakening appears in the world and they can see each other. They can recognize each other. They can say, oh, I am a being, you're a being too. Here we are together. And, I think really awakening is this quality of recognition of our own experience and others' experience as being part of the natural world, part of the life. And we can't see it clearly unless there is this awakening, if there is the quality of Buddha, not the person of the Buddha, but the quality of Buddha, of awakening itself, is what allows us to truly see and recognize each other in the great darkness of our ignorance and delusion and greed and hatred and all of these things. So the miracle is that there is the quality of awakening in the world. And that's represented by the Buddha, the birth of the baby Buddha. But it's something that we can also experience within ourselves and can use to recognize our own experience in a deep way that we might not otherwise have had access to. So celebrating today. I'm happy to look around at all these other beings here. We're not in such great darkness, but to recognize, oh, there are others here. I'm here, you're here, and we can all see each other. So, see each other in the light of awakening.
Next, I will recognize Samanera Sadajivi.
First of all, I like to pay respect to the Lord Buddha, to my Upachaya, Pante Sorata in Kandy, my Pante Saranapala, who teach me mindfulness, my teacher, Venerable Bhikkhuni Tataluka, and to all Dhamma teacher, and to all Sangha, and to all the lay supporter for my practice. This is my first time that I'm able to have a chance to open my speech as I being a seminary, and also is the English. It's not very easy for me, but perhaps I think everybody could understand as a second language. Or so the celebration of the Vesak day, which is I prepare to talk, is very important for all Buddhist festival, that we remind our Lord Buddha birthday at his enlightenment. So many of practitioners, we all gather to the temple. Some of them meditation, some of them are chanting, pray, and offering candle, incense, flower to lay at the feet of their teacher Buddha. So as when I was young, my first time that I see the statue of the Buddha, the birthday of the Buddha, it remind me a question that I always ask my mother. Why the Buddha point the finger up there? So last night, when all the Sangha have a meeting and decide to let we talk, so I decide to talk about why the Buddha put the finger up, because it's the kind of remind myself when I first time see the baby Buddha. So I remember this one that I've been asked to a bhikkhu, and then he teach me too. This is mean, he said, I am the greater one in the world. Even just a baby, the Buddha, he put his hand up there. So that is what I'm wondering. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce it right. It says, Jetto Hamasmi Lokase. It means I am the one, senior one in the world. Jetto Hamasmi Lokasa. I am the supreme one. Ayama Tima Jati, which is mean this is the last verse of my recital of samsara. Nati Tani Punya Pavo, which means there will not be another birth anymore. This is the word that I prepare and I wrote in my note. While it is remind me, before I ordained, I saw this Buddha birth standing there, and mostly of the statue always make it white. That I just start to be take 10%. And I always look at this Buddha finger pointing up there. So I talk to myself that I'm going to be practice just that him, because I think I want to live up to the samsara. So that's all I can make my short speech for today, and to share. And from the point of that point, I will try to practice. And thank you to all the supporters of the lay upasika, and to everyone that gathered today on birthday of the Buddha. Thank you so much. Anumodana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Now that our teacher has arrived, I have to tell Loka, we can now take a break for 1 minute and pay respect to Ayatollah Loka.
We already paid our respects to the triple gem that includes all of us. Okay, anyway. Ko Bhutanan Upahato Sukha Sadham Desana Sukho Sangha Samahagi Samakanan Tapo Sukho. You can join me. You can join me in the English. Happy is the arising of the Buddha. Happy is the teaching of the true Dhamma. Happy is the Sangha in harmony. The harmonious one striving is happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Ratanataya. Oh.
Aya, are you happy to speak right now?
Yes, thank you. Would it be all right to turn the light off here? Or is that not? Is it okay? Who's on tech support? Are we all right without it? It seems like a bright day. So let me take a moment just to settle here. And anyway, coming or going or Sugata, Tathagata, Tathagata, Tathagata. Let's come, let's gone. It's not true to say there's no coming or going, but also, looking from one direction it's coming, looking from the other direction it's going. And then on the airplane far, far above, even the large wave looks like it's still, right? So there are different perspectives on all of these things according to how we look. So excuse me for coming a little bit late, because the full moon eve, then I sprained my knee, because the month before I had a little surgery, and then I wasn't moving so much because of recovering from the surgery. Then when that wound healed, then I started to move around, but like my muscle wasn't so strong after a month and a half, and I just got up. Anyway, this is aging. This is the nature of things, yes. And for all of us, for all things, even these beautiful flowers that have been offered, then also later on in the afternoon and tomorrow, then also they'll look like that. They'll start looking more like coming into being of excellent compost. Right? The ending of one thing is the beginning.
The beginning of one thing is the ending. Just remember.
Okay, how's that? All right. Sadhu. Many thanks to tech support and to everyone who has prepared everything so beautifully today. And all those who are gathered from near and far. And special appreciation to Ayasopana and Samanari Tavira and to Susie for being our main organizers this time, this 22 Vesak, and to everyone who's contributed. I know so much behind the scenes in various ways, preparing the space and the flowers and everything. Everything, near and far. So although I came a little bit late, I was listening inside and I heard the first reflection offered on the birth of the Buddha or of the Bodhisattva being dedicated to awakening, who became the Buddha. And I thought that I would offer a little bit more reflection on that, and then also moving into the time of the Great Awakening. We had hoped that Ayya Brahmawara would be with us for more from her about that when she comes to join us for this Vasa again, her wise words. And then I think Venerable Bhikkhuni, Samanari Dhammadharini, maybe next time I'll get to say Venerable Bhikkhuni Dhammadharini, and others will follow. So this year's Vesak, I've been reflecting on one of the suttas, the Acharya Buddha Sutta, which means wonderful and marvelous. The Buddha's teaching on wonderful and marvelous, which tells the story of the Buddha coming to birth. And a few particular elements in that story that I'd like to just reflect upon for a moment. It was lovely that we were chanting and circumambulating the Bodhi tree and then all poured water over the baby's body with one finger up and one finger down. And how many of you knew that you were standing in for the Devas, for the divine beings in doing that in the Buddha's story? And truly in Buddhism, yes, we can do that. All kinds of realms, different kinds of beings. We turn our minds to that, our minds and consciousness become like that, then we ourselves, that's it, we ourselves become like that. That becomes our path, the way that we turn our mind and consciousness and intention, then that's karma, that's making our karma. So very good to be aware and intentional. In fact, I offered an earlier Vesak reflection for UTBSI, the United Theravada Bhikkhuni Sangha International, called Manifesting the Noble Intention. It's available on YouTube if anyone would like to see it. But I'd like to come back to that again. I know there are many people these days of different ages, not only young people, who are feeling lost coming to birth in our current time. I'd like to turn to the Buddha's story and reflect on what it means to really come to embodiment consciously and choicefully and intentionally with purpose. Even if we didn't have that purpose at the time that our own consciousnesses came to be settled in the womb with cells from mother and father greatly activating together, also conditioned by our environment. Even if that wasn't intentional for us at that time, or even if that wasn't intentional for us when we were young, I feel there's a way that we can really, at any moment in our lives, really enter into and sit in that seat or stand in that spot. And that is determined for ourselves that from now on, our birth, our bhava, you can say being or becoming, is conscious, is intentional. There are many purposes that we can choose, but I would say then to think, what would be the most noble purpose that I could inhabit if I choose from now on, from here forth, that my being, becoming, my bhava is intentional, conscious and intentional. So I'd just like to open up, like offering a key, and then, to open the door for us to step into that possibility that the Buddha himself inhabited. Now, the Buddha didn't say that it's so terribly difficult for human beings in their life, during their life, to become more aware and conscious. But the Buddha's story is so exceptional because apparently dying and then coming to birth and coming to the womb is one of the hardest times to do that. So this is why this is considered to be like truly wonderful and amazing and marvelous, because that's one of the biggest transitions, to be able to be fully conscious, aware, mindful, and intentional. But if we, as Sāvaka Bodhisattvas, means those intent upon awakening, who are disciples, Sāvakas, who have heard the teaching, who are disciples of this Buddha, our Buddha Gautama, Siddhartha, Shakyamuni, if we ourselves develop that intentionality now, as Sāvaka Bodhisattvas, that is, disciples of the Buddha who are intent upon awakening, that is the primary cause and condition, that intention, that dedication, that cultivation of being able to go through the difficult transitions, the stronger transitions, also consciously, intentionally, wisely, as beings dedicated to awakening. This is the first point that I'd like to just really call to all of our noble attention and invite everyone to make such a determination even from now, at this time in our lives. May we not be lost. May this not be haphazard, that we're alive as human beings and that we have come to birth. But even now, however old we are, that we dedicate ourselves in awareness to our most noble intention and dedication, and make the vow, even if we would, to make the vow together to really cultivate and develop and to establish this in our lives, in this life, in this incarnation, ourselves, knowing that that's not only excellent right now, it is, but that also lays the groundwork for our path, that sets our course in this great samsara. This is the first. The second then is our positioning, having been born, reflecting on the Buddha as a bodhisattva, being dedicated to wisdom, dedicated to awakening, in this posture of one finger up to the heavens, like touching or pointing to the heavens, and one finger down to the earth. And just in our own minds and bodies right now, recognizing our own position, our being in this position, and sitting, standing. I've practiced even standing in this posture. What does it mean to then inhabit such intention here as we perceive below the sky and upon the earth in this way? And the Buddha himself is said to have recommended the practice of Putanusati meditation, recollection of the noble, helpful qualities of the Buddha, as well as Dhammanusati, recollecting the qualities of the Dhamma, Sanghanusati, recollecting the qualities of the awakened, sagely members of the Sangha as a great boon and benefit and guide and support and blessing for us. So sati is mindfulness. So this is a kind of mindfulness practice, but it means to consciously bring something to mind and then recollect something in a way that is greatly helpful and supportive to us. So here we are in this posture, thinking about coming into being, coming into birth in this posture, dedicated with the most noble dedication. Can even practice standing meditation like this and then go to walking meditation with this in mind, like carrying that then into motion, and coming back to standing, pause, then to walk again, to pause, and to really get a feeling, a somatic sense and feeling for it in the four bases, in our body and our feelings and our mind, and also the base of Dhamma. And then when we sit or when we lie down as well. So timekeeper is eyeing me. And I'd like to transition now to the third posture that I'd like to speak about. This is not replacing Ayya Brahmawara, because we've invited her. We hope she'll be coming back, and we don't wish to replace her. We welcome her back again with us. The third posture I'd like to consider is what's called the earth witness posture. It's not the same as this one here, but it's similar. This one hand is in the meditation posture, and then the other is touching the ground, touching the earth. The one on the altar over there that you were circumambulating is in that posture. So this posture, that posture is associated with then the Great Awakening, the time of the Great Awakening. So it's called Bhumipasa or Bhumisparsha, which means touching the earth, and also called in English earth witness, according to the story. This one I feel is very important for us right now in this big time on our planet. All of us here, I think, are meditators. We may all spend some time in this kind of classic sitting meditation posture, practicing the kind of meditation that we practice. I'd just like to give a moment also in this contemplation, in this Putanusati, this mindfulness of the Buddha or recollection of the Buddha for our benefit, for our guidance, for the establishing of our path, for our support in the path. I'd like to just give a moment to then thinking about moving from the meditation posture to touching the earth with our mindful contemplation and awareness. We understand that Bodhi means wisdom, awakening, enlightenment, to bring really our full awareness, our Buddhi, then to this posture, which is grounded in meditation, meditative contemplation, and then touching the earth. And it's meant to be a transitional posture because after that comes rising up and the intentional action that follows, whatever words, whatever bodily motions, coming from that mind, coming from that heart. But just to take a moment to pause then and contemplate from the meditation posture, from our meditation, bringing all of the virtues of our meditation and its excellent and noble qualities, which are deepening and unfolding for us, and then contemplating that right hand, then touching the earth witness. What does this mean for us in this contemporary time? What is it evocative of? When we bring forth that noble intention, which then leads into our words, leads into our action, leads into our karmas, our livelihood, all of this. What does that mean for us? I'd just like to invite everyone who is here and everyone who is seeing this and who will see it to step into being conscious, intentional beings, conscious, sensitive, aware, bringing the bodhi into then our course of action. I'll stop for here. This is the reflection on 3 mudras of the Buddha in coming, the bodhisattvas intentionally coming to birth, being and becoming, to this placement here as an intentional and dedicated human being between the sky or heavens and the earth. Here we are. Then from our meditation, the earth witness posture. So practicing wise reflection and wise action with Putanusati in these 3 postures related to the Bodhisattva's birth and the great awakening of the Buddha.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I would like to call on Samaneri Dhammadharini.
Thank you, Ryan, for those beautiful, kind words. Thank you for the words being the words of another that we so need to listen to. Kachina earlier was speaking about the light that came into the world. But what would have happened if that light that came wasn't shared with us? Where would we be? Think about that, listen Ayati's teachings. What would have happened if the newly enlightened Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree decided or didn't teach? What if he did believe that the humans that were there weren't able to understand his teachings? What if he didn't think there were some with little dust in their eye? What if he didn't teach to us? Where would we be? So with great gratitude to Brahmeswara Humpati for coming down and asking the Buddha, not just once, not twice, but 3 times. 3 times he implored the Buddha to teach that there are indeed those with little dust in their eye. And the Buddha finally did say, let the doors of the deathless be opened. So the Buddha finally did teach. With much gratitude for the teachings and the words of another that were what inspired the Buddha to teach. And for what inspire us now to learn the teachings of the Buddha are indeed the words of another. So thank you, Ayati. Much gratitude to you. Thank you.
Now I invite you to I invite Seminary Tavira to continue our discourse.
So as Novice Dhammavara said, the Buddha chose to teach. So he didn't need to. His work was done at that point. And I'm sure there have been many Pacceka Buddhas who chose not to. And it's not easy to run a community and live in this way. And even once the pattern was established, but just think how much more of a challenge it was for the Buddha to, once he had his realization, decide to actually establish the sasana and establish the Sangha, and all of the trouble that was, difficulty and challenges associated with that. So as the Buddha was nearing his parinibbana, Mara shows up and they have a conversation. And Mara reminds the Buddha of a conversation that they had just after his awakening. And so Mara says, "Sir, you once made this statement. Wicked one, I will not become fully extinguished until I have Bhikkhuni disciples who are competent, educated, assured, learned, have memorized the teachings, and practice in line with the teachings. Not until they practice properly, living in line with the teaching. Not until they've learned their tradition and explain, teach, assert, establish, disclose, analyze, and make it clear. Not until they can legitimately and completely refute the doctrines of others that come up and teach with a demonstrable basis. Today, you do have such Bhikkhuni disciples." And then likewise for Bhikkhu and laymen and laywomen. So as just after the Buddha's awakening, he had said, okay, if I'm going to establish this teaching in the world, and this, what I have realized, if I'm going to create something that can then, really hold these teachings and carry them forward as far into the future as possible, he looked with his wisdom and he said, okay, what I need is to have monastics of all genders, and I need to have lay people of all genders who are really established and competent in these teachings. And so as the Buddha is coming to the end of his life, he's looking, and Mara is reminding him that he did that, he established that. And then that's the tradition that has been passed down to us in this time. And there have been some hiccups along the way, but just really so grateful for the Buddha's generosity in choosing to go through the trouble of establishing what he established, and just looking to us, who are these categories, of these different groups of people who hold these teachings, and it's all of us together and supporting one another is what really kind of holds these teachings in the world and allows them to be passed on. So just feeling the gratitude for all of that.
My turn. We see that one of the themes that is coming out of several of these incidents is the miracle of the teaching of the Dhamma. Who would have known that one who has gone through so many lifetimes of purification with this adhitthana, this determination to become awakened, and one who has strived with so much effort, finally realizing for himself directly through his own experience, realizing that awakening, realizing the end of all defilements, the end of all ignorance, the coming of the light of wisdom. And then Do you think you could just explain it to somebody else and that person would also wake up? Well, yes. This indeed is the miracle. Directly after the Buddha's awakening, he encountered somebody along the road and who said, "Oh, your countenance is shining brightly. Who is your teacher?" And the Buddha made a very bold statement: "I have no teacher because I realized this for myself. I'm the fully awakened one." And that traveler shook his head. Was not convinced. Very shortly after that, the Buddha went to the group of 5 disciples, and he gave the most skillful, comprehensive, and balanced, really a miracle of teaching, teaching about the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Noble Path, and the 12 aspects of that realization. And that was the beginning with the first awakening of Kondanya, and then shortly after that, he taught the teaching the Anattalakkhana Sutta, the sutta on the characteristic of non-self, and with that, the 5 disciples became awakened. So there is this miracle of teaching. There is an incident that's very close to the Buddha's final passing away that also has to do with this. It has to do with his disciple, Venerable Ananda, the one who was, for the majority of the Buddha's time as a teacher, the one who, with his photographic memory, memorized each sutta that the Buddha taught and kept it in memory and was able to repeat it afterwards. But Ananda was so busy helping others and serving the community that Ananda was only a stream enterer at the time and had not awakened to the goal, had not reached the full awakening, had not attained the goal. And now here was the moment the Buddha has declared that this very night he's going to pass away. Ananda was off to the side, standing in a doorway, weeping and saying, "What a calamity, what a disaster. The Buddha is going to pass away from this world, and I've not yet realized the goal. Well, it's me." And others saw him. The monks who had realized were all like sitting in a calm meditation, having being aware of the nature of impermanence. But Ananda, like other of the householders, was all distraught and disturbed in the mind. So the Buddha called him, and this teaching is called the Anandacharya. At the birth story, it's called What's Marvelous and Wonderful About the Birth of the Buddha. And this little teaching that's within the last sutta about the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, this little teaching is called What's Wonderful About Ananda. The wonderful marvels of Ananda. And he called Ananda and said what he said, and Ananda explained why he was upset. And the Buddha said, "Haven't I told you so many times that everything that's dear and delightful must change and vanish, must become separated from me? Even the body of the Buddha, the flesh body of the Buddha, must come to an end. Everything that's conditioned must come to an end." And then he makes this prediction. He says, "Ananda, go meditate. Very soon you will be awakened." Then the Buddha said, "Ananda, you are wonderful. You have this wonderful, miraculous quality that when you give a teaching to kings and nobles, they talk, they wish that you would stay and teach for longer. When the monastic bhikkhus and bhikkhunis hear you teaching, they love and are so happy with the teaching that you give, that when your teaching is over and you're ready to leave, they wish that you could stay longer. When the laymen and the laywomen hear you teaching the Dhamma, they are so pleased and satisfied with the teaching that you give, and they wish that you could teach it longer. So in this case, what I take from this very small couple of paragraphs in that long sutta about the last days of the Buddha, what kind of teacher was Ananda? He was one who heard and remembered what the Buddha said, and he repeated very accurately what the Buddha said. So anybody who would listen to Ananda had a chance to hear an accurate representation of what the Buddha had said. And this then has become, it's a kind of a guidance, isn't it? That the Buddha was praising this because he's saying, this is what I wish for you to do. Please remember what I have said. And please repeat it and teach it again and again accurately. And when you do this, many people for many generations will be pleased and satisfied, and they won't want it to come to an end. They will want to continue it. And this has become a characteristic of Buddhism, especially, a characteristic of all schools of Buddhism, especially in the Theravada, that the Buddha's disappearing from this earth in the human life was a kind of a trauma for the world. And the Buddhist world became very concerned about preserving these teachings and keeping alive this possibility that this miracle of the transmission of the Dhamma, this opportunity where someone who is what's called a Savaka, this is our school, we call ourselves the Savaka, the disciples of the Buddhas. We are the listeners. There's two things that we have that create the possibility for us to awaken. We have mindfulness and clear comprehension, and we have the voice of another. We have heard the voice of the Buddha coming down to us through what has been repeated. So often in the other suttas, you see cases where the Buddha is quite gently critical of Ananda again and again, almost like Ananda is the person who always gets it wrong. You see so many suttas like where Ananda said, I think dependent origination is so clear to me. And the Buddha said, don't say it's clear, it's very deep and difficult to understand. Or then on the other occasion, as we talked about with the birth stories, the wonderful and marvelous, that Ananda is accounting all of the miracles about his conception and the time of his pregnancy or the time of his birth, and how those things that happened as being miracles. And the Buddha said, well, okay, those are miracles, but the other miracle is that I am able to discern the arising, the existence, and the passing away of a sensation or of a thought or of a perception. And so it's almost like saying you've got the wrong end of the teaching if you're concerned about, thunder and lightning and flashing lights. That the thing that you ought to be focused on is the miracle of mindfulness, of the capacity of the human to realize. So Ananda became, kind of like a joke or something, and so he had this insecurity about his own capacity, and the Buddha had this great compassion that he comforted Ananda and really told him that he would be able to wake up if he enlightened, if he practiced meditation, and if he remembered those teachings. And then a little bit later on in the very same sutta, the Buddha in his final words, gives the very same similar thought or admonition to everybody who was around him, saying everything that arises must pass away. Therefore, we must practice diligently. And so that reminding again and again about impermanence, whatever is dear and delightful, will be such a theme that to meditate on this, and it's possible to attain the teachings. So this is my theme for this one of the small vignettes out of the rich and profound story of the things that happened around the time of the Buddha's passing away.
Anumodama.
Would you like to give a dedication for the closing lesson?
Unless you would like to. Anumodhana to our Venerable Acharini, Ayasopanachari, and to Venerable Bhikkhuni Gachayana, to Seminary Satthajivi, to Seminary Dhammawara, Seminary Tavira, for sharing these reflections on the Buddhas, or the Bodhisattva, the beings, awakening beings, dedication and coming to birth, the great awakening and the great final passing, or parinibbana, maha parinibbana, the Buddha, the three great events, or thrice blessed meaning of this day that we're celebrating today, this season of Vesak. Now we've come to the time of offering dedication and then closing blessing chanting. And I'd like to invite everyone to think about whoever and whatever they may feel like they would like to share in dedication and blessings with, whether an individual who is alive or still to be born or already passed away, whether human or any other forms of being, including our guardian angels or those who've already gone beyond, and any number of beings, even out to Sabbe Sata, to all living beings, our whole earth. And I'd like to especially contemplate and consider right now, this year, during this season of Vesak, here in the United States of America, we have surpassed 1 million of those who've passed away with COVID. I'd like to especially remember all those who passed away, and more than 6 million in our world. And I'd also like to especially remember and think about sharing blessings with all those who may be suffering from war or violence in any kind of way. And think about especially sharing blessings with dedication to all of them, and also including whatever we might have suffered or whatever wars there might be in our own hearts or those very close to us. So also all places where there are any conflicts or any difficulties, where there's the lack of things or too much of things, lack of some things and too much of others, whether they're elemental or whether they're human or social or political circumstances. Also, I want to especially think about anyone suffering from environmental disasters. I know here in our adjacent counties, they have a red flag for fire danger today, and we're very lucky here. Yesterday it was smoky, and now we have wonderful, beautiful, like perfect weather here. But we know many places it may be too hot or too cold. Seminary Satajivi is going to Canada tomorrow, and they're expecting blizzards after this, even at the end of May. Yeah, I think Colorado yesterday they had the blizzard as well. So for all kinds of environmental situations, really just like to share big heart of blessings from all of us, and wishing for all of us that our wise thoughts and our wise words and our wise actions follow in the wake of these blessings. I'd also like to especially mention our elder brother monk, Venerable Panyadipa, who's just passed away during this Vesak time on May 16th at Heartwood Retreat Center in North Carolina. And so this was announced to everyone yesterday. And so I just want to share enormous blessings and appreciation for his embodiment of noble qualities and sharing of the Dhamma with many people, and wish him either well on his journey and his path with the most supportive conditions, or that he just right away, as quickly as possible, if not already, experience the highest peace and happiness of unexcelled, complete Nibbana. So our first blessings will be the Jaya Parita. This is for all of us, all of those who are practitioners who are joining together to wish us real strength and blessings from the Buddha's own awakening and the joy that that brought to his world, including to us now, more than 2,566 years later, and to just bless us with success likewise in our own cultivation, development, and practice. Then the Abhaya Parita for all those who might be in fear or in difficulty, and Dukkha Pata for everyone in any kind of suffering. I'd like to invite you to think about guiding these blessings inwards to wherever they may be helpful, and also outwards, unlimited, unbounded, to everyone who could receive and benefit from these blessings. We wish to share them now with all of you, all beings.
If anybody would like to chant along with us or to know the meaning in English, you may find it on the pages marked in the green chanting book. And someone could pass those around to anybody who would like to have the book. Thank you, Nikolai.
Use that mic. Right. If there's a fire, this mic here, you can only hear the region. This one be able to do others also. Great.
Okay. Sounds good. People are looking to the page, so it's on page 23. And then we'll go partway down that page, and then when you get lost, flip to the next page and start with the Abhaya Parita. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Mahaka Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati suakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko ehi passiko panaiko pachatang veditabo vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho nyaya patipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Samichi patipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho yadidang chattari purisayukani atta purisapogala esa bhagavato sawaka sangho ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjalikaraniyo anuttaran punya ketang lokasati Mahakaruniko nato hitaya sapapaninang ore tua paramnisapa pato sambodhi muttamang etena sajawajena Hotu te jayamangalang jayanto bodhiya mule Sanyanang nanti watando ewan tuan wijayo hohi jaya sujaya mangale naparajita palangke sise patawipokare abhiseke sapabodhana Agapato pamodati sunakatang sumangalang supapatang suhutitang sukano sumuhutto chasuyitang brahmachari supadakinang kaya kamang vaca kamang padakinang manokamang panidite padakina nikatwana labantate padakine yang dunimittang awamangalancha yocha manapo sakunasa sato papagahodu supinang akantang bodhanupawena vinasamentu Yandunimitang awamangalancha yocha manapo sakunasa sato papagahodu supinang akantang dhammadupawena vinasamentu Yandunimitang awamangalancha yocha manapo sakunasa sato papagaho dusupinang akantang sanghanupawena vinasamentu dukkhapat
Patta Jani Dukha Haya Patta Jani Bhaya Soka Patta Jani Soka Ontu Sabe Pipani No Etawata Ja Amhehi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabe Dewa Numodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya Rantu Sathaya Silang Rakantu Sabada Bhavana Virata Hontu Gachantu Devata Gata Sabbe Buddha Balapata Pajegananjayam Balang Arahantananjate Jena Rakang Bandhami Sabaso Sabe Buddha Balapada Pajegananjayam Balang Arahantananjate Jena Rakang Bandhami Sabaso Sabe Buddha Balapada Pajegananjayam Balang Arahantananjate Jena Rakang Bandhami Sabaso.
May you have every good blessing.
May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Buddhas. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Dhamma. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Sangha. May you ever be well. Sadhu, sadhu.
This concludes the formal part of our program. This concludes the formal part of our program. Thank you, everybody, for your support, your participation, and for your practice. Thank you for the people who might be listening from afar, for your listening, for your support, and for your practice. If anybody would like to have a beverage or talk with the Bhikkhunis for a few minutes afterwards, you may do so. Again, thank you.
I just want to especially thank and appreciate everyone who has prepared this space here today with the garden and all the flowers, and everyone who's contributed to the Dhanasala that we're sitting in, and the canopies that are supporting us here and offering this land, these facilities, as well as our hermitage, and also all with the Dhammadharini Support Foundation, especially our president, Sri Sakun Susie Clicks, who spoke today, and those who have been with our support foundation in past, also including Mahin, who is here with us today, and our new Dhammadharini Support Foundation treasurer, but old, long time friend of Dhammadharini, Dominic Mccarthy, Dom, who I know spoke earlier, and especially also Venerable Bhikkhuni Soapana Terry and Seminary Tavira for organizing today. And I know everyone who is here has contributed in so many ways, and all those, including on tech support, those who are online on tech support, who I'm not able to see, and those who are present on tech support. So yes, absolutely. And those who donated the equipment that makes it so that tech support is possible as well. So I just want to appreciate everyone who has contributed everything, the Dhamma support going back to the Buddha and the early Arahant Sangha, everyone who's passed on the Dhamma to us over the generations and now over the ages, and all those who've offered us the moral support, or you say spiritual support and guidance of all kinds, including all our Dhamma friends, and even those who might not know that they're Dhamma friends, even those who are animals who are offering us love and support and care and blessings when we need it, as well as all those who've offered the main requisites, all the shelter, the lodgings, those who offered food today, and through this time now as we prepare for leading up to the Vasa, and our robes that we're wearing that are cladding and supporting these bodies in the practice, and all those who've contributed to the medicines and all the other contemporary requisites like the internet fee and the property tax and all these other kinds of things. So Anumodhana, please join me in just blessing Anumodhana, rejoicing with all of those who have offered this to us together. And may we all experience the fruits and the blessings of our offerings, our dedication, and our path of practice.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
I myself won't be able to join in the Dhamma. If you'd like to, were you thinking to sit here and let people come and talk, or what was your plan? Just go ahead and announce your plan. We'll do.
My plan was to have if somehow there could be a glass of water, or that was my plan.
Ryan, can you speak a little bit about the plan to put a backdrop here?
That will block the sun for those sitting in front.
These are Hindu's Vesak lanterns. Yeah. Oh, hi. What about Hindu's Vesak lanterns? I just heard.
Putanusati and Dilshan's son, Hindu made these paper lanterns.
Just wanting to appreciate our friends Chaturi and Dilshan and their son Hindu, who made the lovely new paper lantern hanging at the front here.
I was actually thinking about asking Ms. to talk about the plan for making a backdrop here, which will be, I hope will be helpful so the sun does not shine directly. But she may not wish to right
taking
now.
the microphone back.
I see.
Are we closing our Zoom program here?
Blessings to everyone online who has joined us or will join us.
We'll go offline now.
Computer's overheating.
Computer's overheating anyway, so